I think Kirby is desperately clinging on to the Theseus analogy because it's all he has. As I have moved on
Because I
and brought more to
obviously
the
won. That's why.
as I have okay, so you won. You can say you won that analogy, but I've brought
Oh,
more
you
of the
can
past
say you
5 minutes.
Let's go. That's
Yeah,
first
you can.
concession,
If
Mac.
the
First
only
concession,
way, if the
Mac.
only
On
way,
record.
the only way you can say is by
It was
doing
your
that
analogy, by the
analogy
way.
is the only way
Your
you can.
analogy, by
Okay,
the way,
yes,
that I won
it's
on.
my analogy, but I've brought. You're still talking. I've brought the
We
past
can move
two
on. We
times
can
I've
move on. It's
talked.
fine. All I wanted
Okay,
to
well,
concede that
you're
point.
2 things behind.
So that's 1-0
Like I've
for
brought
me.
up way more against already.
Okay,
You're
wait, hold on.
desperately
Okay,
clinging on.
okay, you both just got muted. Okay, this is it's going downhill. So what we're gonna do now when I unmute you? Well, actually, I'm gonna unmute Mac, and Mac, you're just gonna bring up a different topic. All right, we've moved on. We've moved on. Okay, we moved on. All right, Mac, I'm gonna unmute you, and we're gonna go on to a different topic. All right, you're unmuted.
Okay. All right. Well, Kirby just saying she just desperately needs this analogy. It's all he
Mac,
has.
go on to a different topic.
Sorry.
Go
Okay.
on to
Okay.
a different
Okay.
topic. If you
All right.
keep
Well,
going
like,
with
what do I do? I'm gonna repeat. I'm just gonna repeat what I said last time because he just only been talking about the analogy. Because what
okay,
I said last time was pretty fucking, but we're just gonna ignore that and go back to the analogy and
okay,
just focus on that
I'm
for a
gonna put
second
you back on mute.
because we're children.
I'm gonna put you back on mute. Okay, I'm putting you back on mute. Okay, Kirby, go to a different topic. We're gonna bring up something else. All right, Mac, you here? I mean, Kirby, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, bring up a different
Okay, I just
topic.
like you to acknowledge the fact that Mac conceded on the ship of Theseus, and I
I
have
mean,
not
yes, he,
conceded a
he
single
did say
point.
yes. He did say he conceded. Okay, Mac, I'm
Okay, thank you. So it's 1-0, correct?
I don't think that's. I don't know if I'm
It was
muted,
your
but I don't.
analogy, and then you conceded.
Mac, you did
Am I
say
Wrong
muted?
one.
you
Can
did
you hear
say you
me?
conceded.
Wait.
Toby is here as witness.
You,
Wait. Can I be heard?
yeah, you're unmuted right
Yeah,
now.
Oh, okay. Look, no, the analogy thing, I'm not giving. I didn't say like I concede or lose
you
on that. I'm
conceded.
just
You
trying to
said the
move
word
on.
concede. You
No,
said
because
I
you're
concede.
again Kirby is still
You
because
see, the
it's
reason I'm
still
playing
the
to it is not
same thing.
because I
I'm
don't have
not.
other
Can you
arguments.
shut the
It's
fuck
because
up?
I know that Mac
This
is going to
I'm
keep
not. I
pivoting
am
and
not.
weaseling unless I pin
How am
him
I
down for
weaseling? How am I
mid-string.
weaseling? How am I
Because
weaseling?
the moment the analogy flops for you, you're like, no, I don't want to talk about the analogy. Of course you don't, because you fucking lost. I wouldn't want to talk about it either.
I said because the analogy we're on two different sides of the spectrum. I told that to Kobe.
No,
We're on two different
but I
ends of the
addressed that. But
analogy.
I addressed that because within the analogy itself, it's granted
But
that there are
back
two different
then, I
spectrums.
conceded
But I said
then.
the
Because I
premise.
said back
But I
then, I
said
said
the
let's stop
premise.
talking about it because we're two different spectrums. But
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
to
First
keep
you said
going
you
until
want to
you
talk about
beat
it
it
because I
in,
lost.
so you can
Because
win
I
at
won.
something for
Because I
once.
won.
Okay, you guys
Because I
are
won.
both getting muted. XD. Okay, so please, for the love of fucking God, please move on to the next topic. Please, guys. I actually get what Mac is saying here. That like, yes, Kirby, you are trying to beat it in just like a little bit too hard, but just guys, let's just. I'll tell you guys, I'm recording this right now, so let's just move on to the next topic. Okay. Here, actually, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna unmute both of you, and you guys are gonna try to talk about like another topic that you guys want to talk about. Just please, let's try to get another topic. Let's not ruminate. Okay. You guys are both unmuted, by the way.
Oh, okay.
All right,
All right.
ding
Well,
ding, round two.
see again, he's still holding that he won something because he's lost this entire team. Desperately
Ding,
need.
round
You can
two.
have it. You can have it,
Ding
Kirby. You
ding,
can have
round
that.
two.
You
Thank
can
you.
have
He's
that
back at
fake
it. He
win.
concedes it again.
You can have the
All right,
fake
now
win
let's
that you
move on.
desperately
What's the next
need to
point?
feel
What's the next
justified
point?
in anything you're saying.
I'm gonna knock him down.
He's so desperate. It's
Ding
funny. All right,
ding.
continue.
Next
Continue.
round.
Continue. Mr. Desperation.
How am I desperate? You're trying to pivot.
Because you're like talking about winning. So I've been winning. I haven't said anything about winning. I've been winning this whole time.
You said the
You
words.
desperately need to win
I
something. You
concede.
need to win at least. It's
I
funny. You
concede,
desperately need to
Kirby.
win.
I concede. This analogy that I brought up, I
I know,
concede.
and you're so
I
proud of
was
that. That's what
wrong.
I'm saying. You're so proud
Because
of
that's
that. It's
what you
so
do when you
funny.
win a debate is you win the individual points and then all together you've won the debate.
You did win. We just are on two different sides of the
Okay.
spectrum. That's what I've
No, I already
said.
addressed that. I already addressed that.
That's why I
I
immediately
already
the
addressed
second time
that.
it
The
was brought up.
paradox does not apply here because you have not
That,
actually replaced each individual.
Okay, I just muted you guys again. Okay, look, I'll say this. Well, I do agree with Kirby that like the ship of Theseus was kind of like the way Mac explained it was kind of like weird, but Mac is right about you guys are literally on the opposite side of the spectrum. Like you guys are literally like on the two sides of the fucking coin. Like you guys can't see each other right now. That's why I need you guys to fucking literally move on to the next topic so we can try to see a different side of this debate. Okay, guys? I'm gonna unmute you guys again. Okay, you guys are both unmuted.
All right, Mac, what's your next point?
so like, do you want to keep going gameplay, or you gonna go back to like the theme of the game and like what the story conveys?
Whatever you want.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go back to Journey. Let's say, because Journey is Death Stranding. It's the same gameplay element of going to other multiplayer people
Mac,
and connecting with them.
The theme or like the story? Like, what's your main point?
The theme is the theme is the story, like the themes that the story play on, such as delivering reconnection, all this, like rebuilding the world back together from what it once was. Journey has the exact same themes with almost the same gameplay as Walking, but instead you're floating, and like Kirby said, it's like Mario. I guess it's more Mario-esque, but not really.
Interesting.
But it's the same fundamental gameplay where you do nothing but traverse and progress through the landscape, and that is what Death Stranding is, and that is what Journey is, and both of them have the same theme and story beats, but not as but Journey is not pretentious and nice about it. Death Stranding has made it this big, huge waste of space.
Okay, you're getting value judgments mixed in. Let's focus on this. Jumping and flying around on a stylized landscape of sand dunes is not the same as a game which tries to one-to-one emulate the real struggles that you would have carrying a real package of things on your back over a real terrain.
Traversal.
It's the realism.
It has a different. It's detailed. It's a detail. That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. It's a detailed traversal.
Let him yap a little bit more. Let him yap a little.
I thought he was done.
You can say it's just detail. It's just detail. No, it's qualitatively different when you are creating a one-for-one replication and you are raising that realism to the entirety of the game of what it's like to carry a load over a landscape. And I think that there is something very original about that. And other games, yes, you have traversed landscapes, but you're not addressing the fact that in Journey, for instance, you don't have a package on your back. There's no weight requirement. There's no balancing the packages. There's no realistic terrain. There's no like plotting. There's no tools that you're using to transverse the terrain that are realistic to real life. This is what I'm saying, is that no one has ever created such a realistic walking simulator.
And you've said that, but I'm saying that it is something that came from something which makes it not original. It is a fully focused thing on traversal and walking. Because, well, yes, but like in this sense, it's a just direct gameplay element from most games. Assassin's Creed had, but it's not like with the weight and all that. And it's been yes, but it's still the same game. It's still the same follow the objective marker, go where you need to go. That is the gameplay loop. That is the game.
Okay, we're not talking about. I mean, yeah, there's
okay, well, let me continue. The gameplay loop. Okay. But the gameplay's content of walking and balancing stuff is a fleshed out version of walking. It's not original. It's a detailed version where you put all the money into the walking.
Like that before?
I would have to say yes, especially on Flash games.
Where?
Mini clip.
Those are platformers, you stupid fuck.
No, it's not. Where you walk in a straight line on the where you control the legs with WASD and you control the hands with and you have to balance the thing.
Realistic.
There's like 60 of them. But that is what Death Stranding is it not? Yes.
No, it's not. It is not.
Yes,
it is not. It is not.
Again, it doesn't make I'm bringing so much.
He's
like Kobe, can you like
games, bro?
That's a game.
Like, really?
That is
like, are you actually like are you
a lot of games
right now?
No, that is like mini clip spawned a whole genre of gaming stuff.
You move the leg. You're saying that's.
Oh my god, he doesn't know video game history. He doesn't know how video games work. He doesn't know how important Flash games were. He doesn't know any of that, Kobe. Kobe, I know you're listening right now. Kobe, you have to you have to bear with me that I'm like he's not a gamer, bro. That's why he doesn't get what I'm trying to say.
This is what I'm gonna do.
You just disqualified mini clip and Flash games like an idiot.
Disqualify them. I'm saying that's
they're important. They're so important and they're so influential.
I agree, but not in this case.
The Death Stranding is exactly like those games, and those games play exactly like Death Stranding.
Like a two-dimensional game. Do you think Hideo Kojima played a two-dimensional mini-clip game where you use the WASD keys, and he was like,
"It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you played it or not. It's the same thing, and it's not, which makes it not original. You could have thought it was original, but it's not. Traversing with complexity. That's as the gameplay. That is,
but there's no realism. It's two-dimensional.
I just muted both of you guys. So, what it sounds like is Mac is saying is that the game Death Stranding and basically Kojima has been taking stuff from other games because he's not like the first person to make video games. So he's using all of these ideas to make this game, which makes it not original. And then Kirby's just basically on the opposite side, saying that even though, or basically what he's trying to say, even though that like this is what Matt could be saying is true, it's still unique because of the way Kojima implements it into his video games. So I'm gonna unmute Kirby first. I'm gonna let him talk this time, and then I'm gonna let him yap. All right, Kirby, you're unmuted.
It's a matter of the way in which he one-to-one tried to represent the actual process by which people carry heavy objects on their back across natural environments. I understand that there have previously been games which the entire gameplay is based in movement and transversing things. But you cannot argue that a mini-clip two-dimensional WASD game is anywhere near as realistic, or that it reproduces what it's like to hike, what it's like to actually in real life go over a mountain with something heavy on your back. You cannot say that, Mac. It just doesn't hold.
So is that your spell right there?
Yeah.
Okay. Kirby has spoken. I'm putting him on mute. Mac, I'm about to unmute you. Okay, you're unmute.
I guess like it's just regurgitated. It's the same argument we've had since we began this thing. That's why it's like it doesn't even matter. Because like if I were to respond to that, it'd be the same thing I already said. It'd be the same exact thing.
Okay.
So like I don't really know.
Give like a short spell of it. Just do it like real quick.
It's like saying like Mario, like the original Mario, and then Mario the 3D ones are like completely different aspects, even though they came from the same derivative gameplay. Yes, I get that Death Stranding is detailed as fuck, and the detail and how much detail goes into it, and that's what makes the game what it is. But that concept is not original. That's it. The concept of that is not. It's not an original game. It's not. There are other games with that as the mechanic because it's hard to do and it's frustrating, especially like Flash miniclip games, especially the games that people play on like the Twitch live streams, like similar to like Get Over It and stuff like that. There's games where the traversing and looking at your progress through tough traversal is the gameplay loop and the gameplay element and the entire game. That is what Death Stranding is. It is not an original concept. Yes, it is super detailed in its own fashion, whatever way, and looks the way it does, and it's like first step, second step, no, all this stuff and whatnot. That comes from a different game that as games genre that lives on miniclip. It's not an original concept that was brought to the face of video game for the first time ever. Death Stranding is not a Jesus piece where it's an original concept game and everything. It is, like Kobe said, it has a lot of different games built into it, but that does not make it an original thing in its own right. It is still a borrowed idea. Like Metal Gear Solid 1 is what I would say was Hideo Kojima's first like truly different game. Like he truly blurred the lines of what games could be with Metal Gear Solid 1, because especially for a PS1 game, it's crazy. But Death Stranding for a 2020 or 2019 game, it was kind of like, okay, well, I've done this, and it's like, why would I? It's just like it's a frustrating game loop that's meant to piss people off, and it's like, I don't know. It's like it's just like it's not original, and it's not. It's cool that you like it. I'm not gonna say it's a terrible game, but it doesn't make for a good gameplay element, and that's the end. That I'll say that's like the end of my discussion, because Kirby's gonna respond with the same thing he's already said, and then I don't feel like responding back because it's gonna be the same thing I already said. But at the end of the day, the concept and the thought pieces and the theme of like even just to the story, it's not as original as Kirby or the Death Stranding fan base, how small it is, would like to agree with. They just like the vibe and they like how the game is, and that's cool. But you can't get on the stand and say it's super original and be like it's the best. It's like one of the greatest things. It's not. You just like the game and it like appeals to you. Cool. Okay. It's not original.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute Kirby. Kirby, you're unmuted.
I just want to point out how Mac waffles on and gets off topic and starts importing value judgments, which have nothing to do with the debate, which is over whether it is an original game. And I have challenged Mac to bring up one game that in the same way, one-to-one reproduces the realistic process by which you hike over a mountain with a heavy thing on your back. You can bring up Get Over It. You can bring up games. Okay, Get Over It, the mini clip game, yes, but those are two-dimensional Flash games. They are not realistic in anywhere near the same way.
Same concept. It's still
the same. What is the concept
so
that they have in common?
You can look around.
What is the concept that they have in common? What is the concept that they have in common? What is the concept that they have in common?
Making walking difficult. and making
But you
walking
don't
as a
even fucking
gameplay
walk
loop.
and get over it. You don't even fucking walk and get over it.
I said games like Get Over It. I said in those Flash games like that where the traversing movement is difficult.
Making
Go to the
walking
miniclip
difficult, but is
game
it realistic?
where you're on the
But is
track
it
athlete
realistic?
and try and walk on that bitch. It doesn't matter if he ultra realized it. That's what I've been saying. To me, it
Yes,
does not
it
matter
does.
if he made
Yes,
it
it
and he
does.
fully and he
Yes,
detailed
it
it out
does.
and made it all this. It's a walking. It's you walk like in every other game, and then in miniclip you walk
Yes,
like you do in
it
those
does.
games, and it's hard traversal, and that's the gameplay. That is the gameplay element. That is the gameplay loop. That is the game genre that it lives in. That is where it belongs. It is not in its own lane. You can't
It
tell
is.
me that it is. And that is your argument. Is that it is, and that's not.
I'm waiting for you to finish.
It's cool that you
So I
like
can
it. It's cool
explain
that
my
you like
argument
it.
again. We're not talking about
I
whether I
know.
like it. I could hate the game and I would still argue the exact same thing that I'm arguing right now.
No, you wouldn't. If you hated the game, you would say that
If someone
it's like
provoked me,
the
yeah.
same thing. No, you would not defend the
I mean,
game
you're
that
right.
you hate.
Like, I probably wouldn't. Yeah. Well, but I'm not defending it necessarily. I'm literally just saying it is an original. It is an original thing to raise realistic walking simulator to the entire game. Like, I don't understand how you debate this. There's actually been a realistic, like a walking simulator that's that realistic and that one-to-one reproduces the experience of actually walking. I mean, I'm just repeating myself at this point. But I
That's what
challenge you
I'm
again
saying.
to bring up an example of a similar game.
I've
of a
brought
game
up
that is,
so
okay,
many
the mini clip game. Okay, I'm going to go down the list. The mini clip game is not the same because it's two-dimensional and therefore not
conceptually.
realistic. No.
Conceptually, that's what I'm saying.
What do
You're
you mean
thinking about the.
conceptually? What concept do they have in common, Matt?
focusing.
What concept
You're
do they have in
focusing
common?
on the
What
detail.
concept do they have in
muted
common?
both of you. You guys are both muted right now. Okay, so this is where I can see where I can come in. So Mac made a claim that they're gonna be they're the same thing on a conceptual level. So Mac, I'm about to unmute you, and I want you to argue why these games are the same on a conceptual level.
Okay.
All right, Mac.
So Kirby's argument is what I don't agree with. That's what I'm saying. It's a never-ending argument because Kirby's saying that the more detailed and fleshed out, it could blossom into a new thing. As detailed as the walking is in Death Stranding, that makes it original. That makes it its own kind of game. I'm saying that the concept of that's what his version of original means. I'm saying it's not original in the concept that those are tropes in games since gaming became a thing. That is not an original concept. Yes, maybe like it's an original in like I guess the specific ways that the game is played, but the concept is not original, which makes it not original to me. But I guess that makes it original to Kirby because that's I don't know. But to me, that does not mean original. To me, the idea of what it is original, and you could like put in a multiple things and say it's an original idea, but when all the ideas are walking derived, it's derived from walking. It's not like story beats this gameplay element, and then it fuses to make this new thing. It's not. It's little tiny pieces of walking put into a game, which make it super walking. It's not its own situation, and it can't be. But Kirby, his idea and what I'm assuming his definition of original is that kind of like super ultra realistic, he brings up points of like looking back at his progression as if that's something original to Death Stranding, as if Skyrim, fucking any open world game, even like games that aren't open world where you can just progress and see how far you can and be like, oh, that was like a good, I've traversed through that. That was like, even if it's a small path, because Kirby, I think he's saying like just getting up a mountain turns into like a big ordeal as it would be like realistically hiking and whatnot. But that same concept and that same feeling and that same everything comes from a lot of games, which makes it to me unoriginal. And the way that Kirby, I think, is saying that it's original to him.
I get what you're saying. I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to put you on mute.
Okay.
All right, Kirby, you're unmuted.
Okay, we're back to this thing where because other games, like we'll go with Skyrim. In Skyrim, I remember being in Skyrim, and yes, like seeing a broad plain, like when you come over that hill from Riverdale or whatever the fuck, and you see that first and you see Whitehall, and you see this big plain, and then you walk all the way across it, or when you go up that mountain to meet the Greybeards. Like yes, like great, like walking has been a part of previous games, but in Skyrim, that is not the core.
Kirby, you muted yourself by accident, Kirby.
Okay. How much did you hear?
Just like it was like after Greybeard or something.
Okay. In Skyrim, yes, there are beautiful moments when you have gone up a mountain and you've had to fight all these things, and you make it to the top, and then you look back down and you see the way you've come, and yes, it's very beautiful. Yes, I agree. That has been in many, many games. But what is different about Death Stranding is that it takes that aspect and makes the entire game centered around that.
Is that your whole spill?
On this point, yes. Which I feel like we already debated with the Ship of Theseus thing, but I don't want to get back into that.
Okay. Kirby? I mean, not Kirby. Fuck, I keep getting your name. Mac, you're unmuted.
Okay. Again, he just said the same.
Actually,
like, I don't.
Wait, hold on. Actually, I'm meeting you both. Actually, so I actually think now that like both of you guys have said this, I actually think now we're gonna be at an endpoint of this debate. So I actually think now that we should actually give our final thoughts on this entire thing. So what I'm gonna do is since Kirby went first, you know, he started off. I'm gonna give Mac. I'm gonna unmute you, and you give like your final thoughts, and then I'll do it to Kirby. All right, Mac, you're unmuted. Give us like your final thoughts.
I already have. I pass it to Kirby. You can go on.
Just restate it for the video.
All right. So Kirby's definition of original differs from mine. He thinks that because how fleshed out the walking mechanics are in Death Stranding, it makes it its own original concept and its own original game. My argument is that those concepts exist in many other games, not just like Skyrim, or like open world games where the walking isn't the main gameplay point, and you have to get through stuff like that. You could say like Outlast, like any game where walking is and the story happens around you, is that where Death Stranding lives in its genre. And since it lives in that genre, it does not make it original. And on another front, getting concepts from other walking games where traversing is the difficult part and traversing the terrain is the gameplay loop and element, and putting some of those concepts and not doing some but doing a lot of them and putting them into this super detailed, highly graphic and super setting and calling it its own thing just does not compute with me, and it is not what I would call or say original. If it was a bunch of elements put together, because walking and traversing, again, that gameplay element is a thing that people watch for fun. You know, it's like a fun thing to see how it's hard. It's like this little other thing. That's what Death Stranding is. The only thing you see of Death Stranding is people falling over in ridiculous ways and being like, "Oh, this shit," and like watching how janky the controls are and all this stuff. And that's like what that those qualities exist in Flash games. They exist in games like Get Over It, especially the jankiness of just how that kind of game works. And so they don't. Original and Death Stranding don't cross paths for me. And as far as like the definition of original, I can see where Kirby's coming from, that he would call that original, but in my video game verse and how many games I've played and grown up with and stuff, it's not, I wouldn't say it's original. It's just like, again, it's just one of those games on crack, which does not make it its own thing. It does not create a new genre. It fits in a genre.
I get it.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna put you on mute. Kirby, you are now unmuted. I want you to give us your final thoughts. You know, your in spill on this debate as a whole. What Mac did essentially.
Mac likes to be vague, and so what he's doing is he's talking about how detailed it is. If my argument was that they added a bunch of details to walking and that's what makes it original, then yeah, that'd be a stupid argument. But that's not actually my argument. My argument is that, one, they have taken walking and raised it to be the entirety of the game, the centerpiece of the game. And two, that unlike games like Get Over It or the mini-clip games, they have strived for a level of realism with respect to actual hiking and backpacking, a level of realism that has never been aspired to before. That's it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying that Kojima basically put walking as like the main thing you see from the game, and then it expands onwards from that. Like everything like comes
and that it reflects actual backpacking and walking and hiking in real life in a way that is original.
Okay. I see what you're saying. All right, Mac, you are now unmuted. So,
again, like he went back to like I brought up the detail thing because you
I
brought
thought we
up
were
the
summing
detail
up
thing.
the whole argument.
Yeah, well, then you just opened it back up because you just went
Yeah, 'cause
back.
I'm
I'm like,
summing
I'm
up my
glad Kobe.
argument.
Yeah, but 15 minutes ago, you brought in the detail thing, and that was your argument to say how different it was in original. And then you just said, and then you just scrapped that entire thing.
No,
So
I
it
never
was
put
never about the
detail as
detail.
my
That was
detail
actually
was
my
never
argument.
detail was never what I said.
Oh, that is. Just said that, Kirby. I'm glad you were recording because you
I'm
literally
sure I
stopped and
called.
made a
I'm
whole
sure
thing
I
about
called
detail.
things. I'm sure I said it was
But
more
that's when the argument
But-
shifted. That's when we started talking about detail. But that
Okay,
like again, like
but
the whole thing.
realism is also a part of it, which separates it from things
That's
like
what
the
I mean
mini
by the
clip
detail.
or the.
Yes, they're
No,
not
detail and,
exactly,
Mac, are
but
detail and
they
realism
come
the
from
same?
them.
Are
They're
detail
not
and realism
exactly the
same?
same.
Are
They're not
detail
exactly
and
the
realism
same.
They are completely fucking different, you retard.
I'm not
Jesus.
saying that the mini clip games and the Death Stranding are exactly the
Jesus.
same,
Like,
but
Kobe,
they
you
have
hear
the
this? He's
same
like,
parts.
detail is the same thing as realism. No, realism. I mean, actually,
Oh
there
my
was a real
God.
thing in real life where you walk up a fucking
detail
hill with a
would
backpack
stem
on.
from realism. I'm pretty
That's
sure.
what I'm saying. He's a fucking
No,
retard.
that's not the, no.
Then what is detail?
No.
What detail without the
What is
real?
reality?
What is?
What is
Oh my.
reality?
Okay, what are you
Have you ever
doing?
fucking
Are you just
walked
trying to
up a
run
hill
away
with a
now? You're just
backpack
trying to
on? Have you
get
ever
out?
walked up a hill with a backpack on?
Shit.
That's in real
Oh
life.
my
That's in
God.
real life, and that is what they are emulating. That's what separates us from something like Get Over It, where you're in a fucking pot and it's two-dimensional. That's not realistic.
But again, you're fucking
It's
like
not the
again. We're
same
not
thing
on the
as
same
detail.
plane of thought. We're not on the same plane of thought.
I
That's what
agree
because I'm not
completely.
saying
You are
that
down in
they're
the mud, my
exactly.
friend.
I'm not saying that
The
they're
mud of
exactly like those
sophistry
games.
and
I'm not
confusion
saying
and lies.
I am not saying that Death Stranding is exactly like those games. Like you keep fucking talking about. The concept is from those games, but you
What
can't
concept?
compute in your mind
Walking, movement,
that
two
traversing is
games.
hard. The game. That Stranding, traversing is hard. The fucking game. I'm
But
sorry,
hard
Kirby.
how
They're
it
the
is
same
hard in
fucking
the
thing.
real world.
They're
Not
the
in some
same
fucking
fucking thing.
stylized way. You're back to the Mario fucking
Again,
Super Mario
you're
bullshit.
back to the
You're back to
detail. You're
Super
back to the
Mario. You're
detail and
back
how
to
the
Super
detail
Mario.
changes, and that the
You're literally back to
realism.
Super Mario.
No, I'm not. The realism does not
In Death
change the
Stranding, it is
concept of
hard
the
in the
game.
same way
The
that
realism
backpacking is
does not
hard in real
change the
life.
concept
And
of the
striving
game.
for that
The
is what
realism
makes
does
it
not change the
original.
concept of the game. You're just a theater junkie and you like visuals. And you're like, oh my god, how real is it? It's so fucking real. It's the same concept. You fucking twink. Like it's the same thing. It is
No,
the
I
same
literally-
thing. It is the
It's
concept.
like
It is a
backpacking in real
concept
life.
derived.
How do
It
you
is
make the game
concept
difficult,
derived.
Mac, have you ever
By
gotten in a
making
barrel
walking
with a
hard.
fucking pickaxe and
By
like
getting
climbed your
in
way up
by
a fucking...
making walking hard. That is the okay. Get
That's
that
too
game out of your
vague.
head because
That
I
is
referenced
too
that
vague.
once. Get the other ones. Get the other games that are like that, where you have to press the keypad buttons to walk, and you have to balance things back and
that's
forth.
not realistic.
There's so many.
That's
It
not
doesn't matter.
realistic.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
Making it realistic does not make it
Yes, it
original.
does.
It is the same concept.
It matters
No, it
how
is
a
not.
game is difficult. Mac, what defines a game if not how it is difficult? In what way it is difficult? What else could possibly define what a game is?
What are you talking like?
Death
There's some games
Stranding
that aren't
is
difficult at
difficult.
all.
Death Stranding
There are
is
games that are
difficult in
not
the
difficult
same
at all
way
that I love that
walking
you
in
just
real life
walk.
is difficult.
But
Because it's about balancing
all
and
games
weight
don't have to be
management
difficult.
and stamina. What?
Okay, wait, hold on.
Talking about he's talking about difficult.
Oh, hold on. I just muted both of you. Both of you guys are muted. Okay. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay, real quick. Okay. I kind of, for like the last like 15 seconds, I kind of got lost here because you guys are both like rambling now. So I need you guys to, I'm gonna unmute you both, and then you guys just start over like 15 seconds. Okay.
Bro, there's nothing to say anymore. There's nothing to say.
Okay, you guys
There's
are both
nothing
unmuted.
to say.
Max out of steam.
There's nothing to say. You keep saying the same shit from a different point of view than what I'm saying, and then saying that you're right when we're not talking about the same point of view. And I've said this over and over again. It's a never-ending argument because your definition of original does not match mine.
Mac, what is a game?
What?
A game,
It's
I would say,
a game that you play, a video game. A game.
I would say, is defined by the rules, by the conditions which are placed upon you, which make accomplishing the goal difficult.
Wrong.
And the way in which it becomes difficult is what defines what type of game it is.
Why is difficulty mean a game?
Wait, hold on.
There are some games.
Wait, hold on. I just muted both of you. All right, so Mac, you just said that's wrong. I'm gonna unmute you, and I want you to explain why what Kirby just said is wrong. All right, you're unmuted.
Because half games aren't difficult. A game, like he said, what is a game? If you're talking about all games in general, there are a lot of games that there's no enemies. It's a story game, and you go through and they're not difficult at all. So I don't know. Like that's a very bad way of interpreting all games because all games are. Some of them don't even have a difficulty setting at all. Like oh my god, Animal Crossing is so diff. Like what the fuck? That's a game still. Just because even though it's not hard, that was just a bad point. I don't know. Just like That was just random. It was just like a game is about how difficult it is. No, it's not. It's about how it makes you feel, where it takes you.
I'm gonna put you back on mute. Kirby, you can reinstate your point on what a video game is, or you can like try to just like go off of what he said. You're unmuted now.
When I say difficult, what I mean is a game has some goal, some thing that you want to do. Like even in Animal Crossing, we'll take Animal Crossing. In Animal Crossing, the goal is you want to build up your village, right? And in order to do that, you can't just press a button and build up your village. You have to actually fulfill conditions, do repetitive tasks, or do anything at all. And that's what makes a game a game. If there weren't conditions rules that you have to play by, things that limit your ability to just achieve what you want instantaneously, then it wouldn't be a game. It wouldn't be a game at all. And it doesn't matter that some games are not subjectively difficult to you, Mac. You said that as though that's some like objective metric. No, every game has a difficulty. Every game has a difficulty. You cannot just set up a game on a television. If the game's not going to play itself, you have to fulfill the conditions in order to progress the game. That's what defines a game. And I really don't think that's controversial.
Okay.